Okay. And Listo, are you able to, I guess, confirm, like when I'm confirming Earth origin beings, am I feeling that correctly? And angelics?
Yes, when there's no distortion.
Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. And that's what I have felt before, yes.
What do you mean by distortion? Accurate. It says to tell you that people need to be accurate with you.
So are other people able to distort their energy when I am confirming?
No, they give you wrong information from the jump.
Is that intentional?
At times,
Hmm.
mostly not. He
Can you
says,
give me an example?
he says,
Like how was, go ahead.
he says laziness. I don't know what questions you ask people, but okay. Hmm. They sell you love, so it's not always intentional because they genuinely are in love with each other and they reject you when they don't get to hear what you want, what they want.
Okay. I have experienced that, so I do know what he's referring to. Okay. Do you have any advice um, as far as confirmations? I know what I've received from Source, but how important is this as far as the ascension process and activating in establishing origin when assisting someone in their process?
Unity, it's very important.
Okay. Thank you.
So he's still talking.
Mm-hmm.
You all are a force when on one accord. Yes, I remember. That is relevant. He's telling me about an elder of a friend of mine that we were talking about Black issues. And
Mm-hmm.
she's older and she's Dr. Pennington. She's a college dean and she's older Black woman, but she's pretty progressive. And he said we told you through her that when y'all are on one accord, you're a force to be reckoned with. So he's saying that the reason that this is happening the way it is and the way that we're all coming together is so that we can be on one accord and focus our energy, thoughts, intentions, and actions as a unit. It makes us stronger as individuals.
Yes.
We, due to the fact that we tend to suffer the most trauma, um, he's even saying that like people that have been in violent situations, tend to be the biggest threat.
So are you indicating that if we do not per se heal ourselves, then we can become a threat? Is that what he's indicating?
No, he's saying that people that have been through physical and emotional abuse, the combination of the two, are the biggest threat to the dark ones. It was
Can
meant
you,
to break you.
it was meant to what?
It was meant to break you. Wow. The reincarnation process sets us back. So the goal is to basically get you to kill yourself to give them more time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They
So
know.
if we, go ahead, sorry.
He's saying they know that we'll reincarnate regardless, but it buys them more time to inflict more trauma and to keep the cycle going. I've always thought that.
Right.
Uh, the period of lynchings was when they were at their most vulnerable. There was going to be another change, but the amount of trauma that was inflicted was at the highest of levels of angelics.
Mm. Wow. So many of the indigenous, what can you tell us about the indigenous versus the warrior tribes?
The indigenous are still confused. Are they angelics? Not all of them. What do we mean in comparison to that? We value life, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll always value life and cannot find it. He says, not in our archetype to be violent,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that something about, we know that we're immortal. We know it. Why can't we just? So are we gonna always just take their shit? The physical aspect of things is dwindling off, and the social constructs are about to change drastically.
Yes, yes. So is Trump with the contrast that's going on in the choices and decisions, because I feel like people or humanity can no longer sit on the fence or not make a choice of love or lack. Is Trump actually the force that is going to basically bring down these structures to allow us to recreate new and improved structures?
You keep saying Melania.
Oh, Melania, his wife.
Is
What
the
about? Mm-hmm.
the huh? That she's part of a bigger alliance, and Trump's basically a puppet.
Yes, yes. Melania is a starseed, if I understand that correctly. Would that be the correct term?
Bigger,
Bigger. Is she an angelic as well?
correct.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Hmm. Do you have any advice for the bird tribe? Whether it be the bird tribe group that Earl and I are in, or if you have advice for angelics, other bird tribe members.
Keep saying embody. Embody what? The practice of pulling energy around you. We are cleansers, and we have not been using the talent to its full potential.
Can you please advise how to do that?
It says to focus on pulling the energy around you, basically doing the reverse of pushing your energy.
Mm.
Like waves coming into you, and at whatever point you decide that your energy, when you push your energy coming out, that same point is where you want to pull energy in. With that energy coming in, you release that energy. You take from it what you would like, but you release what you don't want to keep. You send out pure love energy, magnifying your energy. Did you right? Okay. To stop fearing negative energy.
Is this a process of transmutation?
Exactly. But he's saying a lot of us are on this spiritual journey and we're blocking out negative, and it's still, the energy is just still there and given to someone else that's not an angelic.
Yes, yes. Is it possible that someone not understanding this process could accidentally call this like energy vampirism?
Yes.
That's very helpful because that came up this week. Are you aware of that situation?
Hold on, he's still talking. What we consider draining, he's telling me, Earl, you were always saying succubus. Vampire is our way of identifying a person that needs healing.
Mm.
Even though we feel it as being drained, or the new, what we are calling being empaths today, we reject it and don't realize when we're rejecting it, that energy grows and festers in that person. He's saying, example is when you talk to let a stranger talk your head off, their energy changes, even if it's all negative that's coming out of their mouths. Their energy changes in a positive way. Yes, you take on that negative energy, but you as an angelic are able to change that energy into pure love energy. And if we're doing it right, we are able to celebrate ourselves free of ego, we just feel our love power grow.
Yes. And then we send the love energy back to that person.
Yes. He said it's not just to that person, it's everything that they have interacted with in a negative manner.
Awesome.
Changing
Awesome.
frequency. Correct? No, he says we're changing their vibration.
We're changing their vibration.
Yes.
Now, is there a difference between the transmuting, purifying of energy that angelics do versus another being, whether or not they be purposely choosing the lack of love or lower vibrational? Is it a difference when they drain energy?
No, they're just creating a further divide. Usually, he says like meets like. So negative people are drawn to negative people. But positive people draw from everywhere. They tend to be independent. And when they are dependent, it's on those like them that it's not draining. Okay. He's saying when other angelics speak to other angelics about their woes, it does not feel the same when it's not an angelic doing it. They don't, he says the term vampire doesn't seem to apply. The
For
problem is
angelics.
that some people are identifying themselves as angelics and they're actually not.
Right.
And that's why, okay, he's saying infiltration again. That's we have to be mindful. That's what my bird mother said. She just kept being mindful.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that what we would call discernment?
he's asking, do you mean discernment to reject or you do mean discernment to understand?
Discernment to understand and identify like who's an angelic, who is not.
Okay, he's saying yes, discernment in your case.
Okay. What is his advice, Listo? What is your advice about discernment? And like, do you have any advice like from Atlantean times? From so far from what I remember, we were basically like listening to, helping, healing, accepting others into our space that did not have good intentions for us, and therefore it caused our weakening or demise.
He said
So
just be mindful.
he said to just be mindful.
He said that we are keeping them too long to be
Mm-hmm.
mindful. The human in us has not figured out how to create boundaries or walk away without feeling guilt or obligation.
Absolutely.
What is perceived as cold in your realm or mean is always not the case. Sometimes it's necessary to keep you on your journey for the bigger picture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The level of suffering that one receives is theirs to choose to stop at any point. No excuses. But when fear is in the equation, one continues to deal with continued mistreatment for fear of, huh?
Just say it. Like, just say it.
He's saying reciprocity. How does that make sense?
Like the other will retaliate.
I guess, okay, yes. No, he's not saying the other person that there will be some consequence, whether it's retaliation from them or, you know, if I leave, where am I going to go, you know, or, you know, all those many variables of why people put up with shit. If I stay at this job, whether am I going to get any income? We tend to forget how we got there in the first place by trying.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
stop trying.
Is this where it's important for us to understand who we are as creators?
Again, I say mindful. You already understand that you're a creator. You have watered it down for the sake of others' interpretation.
Yes. Yes. Why is it that us angelics, why do we feel this like desire or need not to make other like earth beings feel bad for not being angelic? Is that what I'm trying to say here?
It's not that, okay. It's not that. Angelics are love. And overly concerned with ego or not having one. What does that mean? When we don't take our roles as angelics, we are undermining our purpose. That looks different for every angelic. Their experiences are different, and that's for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Further reach. You all have different walks of life to reach all walks of life. Your vessel turns other vessels into vessels. Though they're not angelics, in a way you put mark on them and they go into the world and spread the word that was last spoken to them. This is how you got your religious conversion concepts through the original angelics. Are you, when you say original, is that the 144? Yes.
Listo, what can you tell us about this term? Because this is highly misunderstood here in this realm as well, the 144.
He's saying man came along and counted what was scribed on a sacred space and gave it the name the 144. It is the angelics. But not in the sense of man's understanding of an absolute number. Those originals have had offspring. Those offsprings are scattered across what you call Earth. Because you all are immortal, a part of you is in all of your offspring. When you, oh, whoa, really? When you overdo it, some of your children are genuinely born soulless.
Mm. Listo, what do you mean by overdo it?
Children born without intentions are overdoing it.
So if we create a new creation, which in my earthly understanding, I have termed like soul signature, like a new creation, and we have not set intentions for that creation, it's almost soulless with no direction.
They have a spark, but no light. Children that are born of love show it from birth. Children that are born in confusion or chaos show it from birth and continue to be that.
Now, when you're speaking of birth, are you meaning an earthly birth, or you mean like origin, creation,
Earthly.
like that earthly birth?
Families with long bloodlines of people that tend to live for long times are an example of how it works. How do you mean? What do you mean? Age is not always a gift. But sometimes it is. As you get older, you learn more. You become the stone tablet with the scribes. No one is speaking to their elders, as you would say, Earl. And they are their stone scribes. When they leave to reincarnate, they are born within your same bloodline again. If you have, he's comparing it to numbers. He's saying if you have 10 elders that are walking this earth in the earth realm right now, and you've only made 12 from source of your bloodline, when those 10 pass, those they reincarnate, but you only have so many per tribe that can be reborn and it not just be a spark. Is that why we have a number? Okay, now that makes sense.
You said, is that why we have what?
We have a number. The number is the total number of souls that continue to reincarnate. Does that make sense? I'm saying that right? He says you don't understand. Well, how? Okay, he's saying if the 144 are all walking the earth now at the same time, and we continue to create, they are being born soulless.
Okay. So,
For the angelics? Yeah, it's just for the angelics. But how do the rest of the people get here if it's just for the angelics? Okay, everybody is not from here, which we do. Where are they from? Okay, okay. He keeps saying the more questions I ask, the deeper the hole's gonna get.
yeah. We definitely get that it's more complex in the higher dimensions than what we can understand here in this dimension.
So are there abundance of souls? He just said man is doing it again, overreaching. Not only are we birthing soulless children, we're actually creating them in labs.
Wow. Wow. So, okay, so the concept of soulless children was described in the book, The Turnaround Time. Are you familiar with that book, Listo?
I'm familiar with many things.
Was that a good description of the soulless children in that book?
Very close.
Very close. So when you say we are creating more, oh, go
All
ahead.
children are not bad. It is much like what you pour into a glass. If you pour in poison, you get poison. If you pour in health, you get health. If you pour in love, they are blank slates. The only difference between you and them is immortality.
Okay. The soulless children, do they reincarnate or do they only have one lifetime?
I told you before they go into a pool
To be reintegrated.
to be reintegrated, but not in the sense now that I understand that you think their spark is returned to their original origin of the 41, 44.
Okay. I think I have a better understanding now. Okay. Well, how are you feeling, Listo? Is there, because we could probably go on and on thinking of questions. Is there a...
Wondering when you would stop.
Yes. Because as you know, we do want to do the healing with his higher self and oversoul. One last question for you before speaking to Earl's higher self or oversoul. As far as angelics, the original angelics in the 144, are you able to give us a better understanding of is there a difference between the higher self and oversoul? Do angelics have a higher self?
You are speaking to what Earl calls source. Your higher self is source. Pine cone. You are seed. There's no one else above source in this realm. Who are you? No, no, no. He says to see ourselves as specks of dust around a central dust ball. That when we come together, we're that much stronger. But when we spread out, we cover more space and distance and are able to create different things. So our higher selves are our actual direct corded link to source. So he's saying it's one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what that means. Then why do I need to change? Okay. I asked, why do I need to, why was Bird Mother tell me that I needed to change the name of my higher self? Because only you should be speaking to you.
I was told the same thing, yes. Mm. Can you clarify the oversouls and the founders and the angelics? Is that too much to ask? Is that like a super complex question?
It's not for me. It might not communicate well through Earl.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
In your thought process, oversoul is above your higher self. Your founders, oversoul is part of that group. So it's all one and the same. Kind of like your version of Congress. You have representatives in a chamber that's led by a speaker that answers to a president. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, that makes sense. Okay. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
This is how you see things. This is why you continue to repeat these same formulas throughout decades. This is not a bad thing when it's pure. It is now no longer pure.
Mm. How do we return it to its purity? And you're talking about the way we view it from this dimension? Is that what you mean?
Correct. You will not, you will recreate. It is damaged beyond repair.
So we need to let go of the old framework?
All of your old paradigms will be dismissed. You all have no choice.
Understand. Okay. Listo, you have been super, super helpful and much appreciated, brother. Is there any last message or any summary, anything you would like to give Earl today?
Speak to me more.
Yes, I'm sure he will definitely do that. Well, I thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Blessings. And Earl will definitely be speaking to you more. And just we thank you for continuing to assist us in our journey here on earth. Blessings, brother.